I'm Victor, an English teacher just like everyone else here, working in this field for 15 years, and I'm of a mindset that innovation is a very important word when it comes to education. So I'm always trying to innovate in terms of differentiating techniques and trying to do my best so that my students can benefit from my work. I've worked for private and public institutions, and today I work as a private teacher, and I can apply my methodologies and see how things work, so it's a very interesting work. So okay, so we got here the use of RPGs in the learning of EFL or the RPG method, right? So you got here method, particular form of procedure for accomplishing something, especially a systematic or established one, right? So there are certain techniques that you have to follow in order to make this method work. I've been like 4 years trying out the method with students and friends until I finally got what I call like an acceptable model, right? So I kept trying, and it never matched my expectation, would never live up to what I had in mind. And finally, last year, when I was in Milan, together with some friends from Politecnico di Milano, I got the chance to work this thing out. My friends helped me a lot. So I got here 9 months to complete the final version of the game, and at last come up with an acceptable model. This is, I call it like space-time work. So this is like how thick it is. This is like 9 months work of making this text RPG game. So it's an adventure that you go into space, and as you go through this adventure, you learn language by playing, right? And I'm going to explain how this whole thing works. So then we got here the RPG method, how it all began, a language learning hypothesis. So this whole method is based on a hypothesis that I believe has not been mentioned yet, but I don't know, really. I did a lot of search, I haven't found anyone else talking about it. What are RPGs and how do they work? Playing the game benefits for students, and conclusion, right? So we got here how it all began, a language learning hypothesis. Okay, are you familiar with Erasmus? So Erasmus is an exchange program where students from universities from Europe can study abroad, right? They can study anywhere. They can go to the US, South Africa, Brazil, or even travel among other countries in Europe, okay? So Erasmus students from Politecnico, they came to Brazil and they spent an entire year in Vitória in 2014. So we became friends. They were in the process of learning Portuguese. So this was a very good opportunity for me to observe their learning process, their acquisition process. So yeah, that's pretty much what I said here. And interestingly enough, the Portuguese sound very different from each other, okay? And that's, then I'm going to come down to the hypothesis and why I think this is. And everyone around, all of our friends also came down to the same conclusion, okay? So, we got here. The Erasmus students spend a great deal of time with specific Portuguese speakers, who herein I'm going to call constant input providers, all right? The Portuguese sound very similar to those of their cities. So we got here like language acquire 1, had a very similar Portuguese to CP1s, and so on and so forth. What does that mean? It means that they interacted with a lot of people, with a lot of different people through the day as they went to college, as they did their things, right? But most of their time, they spend time like either with their girlfriends or like a best friend or something like that, right? So that's who they spend most time with, right? For instance, I'll tell you like LA1, language acquire 1, spend a lot of time with me, okay? So I'm CP1 here. If you listen to LA1 speaking Portuguese, and if you listen to me speaking Portuguese, it's like the same. It's exactly the same. It's crazy. You know? Like, if he wants to make it, I don't know, a short invitation, he will use the same skeleton sentence, the same structure, the same vocabulary, right? Then you listen to L2, and then you see like his girlfriend. They talk exactly like each other. It's just the same. So I'm talking in lexical terms, right? In terms of phrase, lexical items like skeleton sentence, this kind of thing. So it's pretty much in the same way. Although they also spend time with other people. And the same goes for language acquire 3. Yes, who also had a very close friend and they spoke just like each other. Of course, we could all understand one another, but there was this thing, and that's why I came up with this idea of constant input provider. All right? So you got here, for instance, CP1, like it's me. That's how I invite my friends to go to the bar. Bora lá no bar, okay? And then he would say like, bora lá na praia, for instance. Or CP2, vamos no bar, o que acha? And vamos na praia, o que acha? I laugh because this guy is very funny, so like anyway. And yeah, so, and this is not to say that Portuguese was robotic or anything. It was very natural, okay? But these things, they came out like naturally, like on a subconscious level, right? So from this observational experience, I came up with this learning hypothesis. So this is a hypothesis, so then I gotta know like whether I'm right or wrong. Yes. And as well as, so this is from my observations, and as well as my own experience learning Italian through continuous exposure, I came up with a learning hypothesis, right? Well, I believe, okay, that we have a limited mental lexicon, and I'll go on to explain why. Right, we do have vast vocabulary, but limited in terms of function association. Right, if you listen to me while I'm talking in front of you, how many times have I said, and then I go on to, so I say, oh, and then I go on to explain, and then I'll go on to, right? I'm always like resorting to the same structure for this same function. So there are a lot of other instructions that I could have resorted to, but instead, because it's a habit, so it's like a verbal behavior, right? So this is my verbal behavior, and I have a lot of other possibilities when I'm writing, because I had time to think, but like in real time, something comes out, and it's natural. It comes from the subconscious. It comes from constant habit, right? So if you follow like a functional approach to language, then yes, I do believe that we have limited mental lexicon, and that's what makes me a constant input provider. If someone spends a lot of time with me, it will become easier for them to learn Portuguese the same way I talk, right? Because I will be providing her or him with this frequent input, because it's repetitive. And because we'll be living like in the same social context and doing the same things over and over again. So the constant input is always like together with the language acquired, right? So this has to do with the student crushing, natural language acquisition, all right? And then comes phrasal overlapping, right? And I base this on Michael Lewis' lexical approach. So it's like, okay, so I learned to say bora lá no bar. It doesn't mean that I'm not capable to understand. It doesn't mean that I'm not capable to understand vamos lá no bar. So the context will speak for itself, and the language you acquire will be able to understand the new structure through context. So as language acquire has learned from constant input provider, and as they go on in their daily life, they will be able to understand other structures from different input providers naturally through context. Okay. And that builds up like their verbal behavior. They're part of a verbal community, stipulated rules, okay, and then it goes back to your limited mental lexicon once again. Phrasal overlapping and language acquisition.
Phrasal overlapping and language acquisition. If language acquirer 1 has incorporated into her or his mental lexicon a certain language structure from CP1, use it for a specific language function, LA1 should be perfectly able to understand a different type of structure that has been used by CP2 for the same language function within the same social context. Eventually, this new structure, if seen much too often, can become part of LA1's passive vocabulary, and might even turn out as active vocabulary if LA1 ends up spending more time with CP2. Mental lexicon limited but flexible. LA1, CP1. We better get going now, or else we'll get home late. CP2. We gotta get going now, or else we'll arrive home late. LA1's brain is thoroughly capable of working out the meaning of CP2's sentence, not only because it contains a lot of vocabulary in common, which is inevitable due to its natural recurrence in that particular context, going, or else, late, home, but because of the context, intonation, facial expression, and hand gestures.
Right, so phrase overlapping works as a fine translator in the social context. And yeah, so that's that's the whole learning hypothesis. And then now the question is, how can I put this hypothesis to test, right? Because I can come up with a learning hypothesis, but if I don't test it, like what's the use in that? So I had to come up with something. And then,
how can I test my learning hypothesis? I need a platform where I can control SIPs, constant input providers, their input and the frequency at which they occur. Plus, I need to provide students with experiential learning, and I need to make sure that comprehensible input is present in the context itself.
that's what I came up with, the RPG method, a simulational approach to language teaching, right? So I needed a simulation, and then I kept trying, like I told you guys, like for all these years, and finally, like I came to an acceptable version. Okay, so yes, RPGs was the decision. So we got here, what are RPGs? Basically, you're playing a game, it's in your imagination, you have a new identity, so to speak. So let's say you can become a mage, you can become a paladin, you can become a warrior, right, in this adventure. And it's a trick, right, it's a trick. So you will go through obstacles, you will interact with other characters, and you will grow up in terms of skills. Like when, for kids or teenagers or even adults playing this game, they keep like increasing their levels, right? So let's say, oh, you get stronger, you get more agility, you become faster, you become wiser. And so that's the fun of it. You're trying to, no one's going to win the game at the end, right? But it's just about getting better, right, throughout the game. Okay. We got tabletop RPGs. So for instance, this could be a game master. So the game master tells the story. So I tell you, like, oh, imagine you're all like in the desert, there is no water, right? And then you guys have your skills, your powers, and you have to fight and play the story and talk. Right? There's a lot of talking during this game, right? We got video game RPGs like Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest. I love these games, like they're very fun. So you go in a quest, you also talk to characters, you fight and this kind of thing. So it's also like an immersion, right? And text-based RPGs, which, off topic, is very useful for advanced students, right? If you guys work with advanced students, this is very useful. All right, now hands-on, playing the game, all right? So, where is the best way for me to show you how this method works? By like actually walking you through the game, right? And then I did this version like yesterday, right? Only for this lecture, because I was like, okay, I gotta find a way to show them how this works. Because if I only talk, blah, 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 it's not enough, right? So that only by showing you, I can show you like the techniques and the reasons behind it. So again, I'm gonna need a volunteer to play this game, right? And then, and I need someone who can't speak Italian, all right? Anyone who doesn't speak Italian, because I made this game so that it's in Italian, so that as you play, you see this acquisition process taking place with you. By the way, you can play this game in two ways. You can either do some vocabulary pre-teaching, so you can pre-teach vocabulary before you play, or if you work on your RPG in a way that the context speaks for itself, it's okay to just play the game, right? With no need for vocabulary pre-teaching whatsoever. All right. So someone who can't speak Italian, a volunteer.
I do.
You do, really?
Yeah. But I studied it for it.
And how's your Italian today?
Excellent.
All right. Well, I don't know. Should I pick someone or? Okay. Thank you. Could you please like maybe sit like next to us, like so that. What's your name?
Lucas.
Lucas. So Victor, nice to meet you.
Okay, same.
All right. Okay. So so I'm here with Lucas. Yes, he's sitting right over there, and he will be playing this game, like trying to learn a little bit of Italian through this game. Okay, and you can speak Italian, right?
No, I don't know.
Okay, right. Now, this can be a little bit tricky because, can you speak Portuguese?
No.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Can you Portuguese possible?
Okay, good. All right, all right. Because I developed this game thinking of like Portuguese speakers, so in terms of cognates and stuff. So that's why okay. So please. Ok, we got here. Questa è la tua casa. Abiti con la tua famiglia. Va bene?
Oh, okay.
Ok. Ok, so abiti con il tuo papà e la tua mamma. Hai un fratello più piccolo che si chiama Mario e hai un cane che si chiama Baffo. Ok, so hai un fratello più piccolo e hai un cane che si chiama Baffo. Questa è la tua famiglia, ok. I guess, ok. Mamma, ho fame, voglio mangiare, ok? Ho fame. Anch'io ho fame, voglio mangiare, okay? And now you have to unscramble this in order to speak just like the other characters. So you need to follow language patterns in this game, all right? So how would you go about this sentence?
Ho fame, voglio
Mangiare. Perfetto, molto bene, bravo, è stato bravo. Ok. Ma che volete mangiare? Abbiamo pollo, pesce, pasta, insalata, lasagna. Pollo, pesce, pasta, insalata, lasagna. Voglio mangiare pollo. Voglio mangiare pasta e insalata. E te, Lucas? Che vuoi mangiare?
Voglio mangiare lasagna.
Perfetto, molto bene. Ho cambiato idea. By the way, she looks like Luciana somehow. So, ho cambiato idea, non voglio cucinare. Andate al ristorante, andate al ristorante. Va bene, fa niente. Allora vado a McDonald's. Lucas, vuoi venire con me? Va bene venire con te o no? Preferisco andare alla pizzeria?
No, preferisco andare alla pizzeria.
Perfetto, molto bene, bravissimo. And then he decided to go to page 10, right? So then he had to go to page 10. Perfect. Se non vuoi venire con me, vengo io con te. Andiamo alla pizzeria, dai, andiamo. Ascolta, per andare alla pizzeria, vuoi prendere la metro o andiamo in macchina? Prendere la metro o andiamo in macchina?
Voglio prendere la metro.
In macchina? Prendi la metro? Perfetto, molto bene, hai fatto, cioè, giusto. Ok. Hai preso la macchina, segnare 0 punti. Però tu hai preso la metro, segnare 2 punti. So you got 2 points. Because you got the metro, so you're eco-friendly, okay? So you got 2 points on your score here. So everybody remember, he's got 2 points, okay? These points are important. Allora, prendiamo la metro, andiamo, tira il dado e vai alla pizzeria. Okay, so I have dice here, okay? Alright, so I brought dice. So this is like a dice, as you got here, yes? Can you maybe like roll the dice? So we got 2, so 1, 2, nothing. Oh, please keep playing until you get to the pizzeria. Because if you hit the bonus, you get 2 points for each bonus you land on. 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nothing. Keep going.
3.
1, 2, 3. Okay, so you got more 2 points. So now you got 4. All right. Then going.
1.
1. Nothing.
3.
Nothing.
6.
6, no?
2.
Okay. 4, okay, so now it's 6 points.
I'm not going to bust.
And then you go to the pizzeria, right?
4.
Okay, but you got to the pizzeria, right? So finally made it to the pizzeria. Perfect, okay? Ciao belli, che volete mangiare? Abbiamo la diavola con peperoni, la margherita e la 4 formaggi. Voglio mangiare la margherita.
Voglio mangiare la margherita también.
Ok, anch'io voglio mangiare la margherita, ok, anch'io voglio mangiare la margherita. But, no, okay. Guys, so this was like a technical mistake, alright? But anyway, va bene, okay? Una margherita per te e una margherita per lei, okay? So just to remind you guys, I was working on this like, really like around the clock, so, okay? E da bene, che volete? Vorrei una coca, per favore. Vorrei una coca, per favore. E te?
Vorrei
Perfetto.
un caffè.
Un caffè. Perfetto. Un caffè con la pizza però. Cioè, è un po' strano. Però ci sta, dai. Ci sta, ok.
So strano.
Ok, va bene. Ok, alright. Ok. Va bene, allora dovete pagare. Costa 2 punti. Hai 2 punti, so it's like 2 points to buy for the pizza. Sì, ho 2 punti, allora posso mangiare o no? Non ho 2 punti, non posso mangiare.
Sì, ho 2 punti, allora posso mangiare.
Perfetto, perfetto. E io pago per la mia margherita. If he didn't have points, then he says, non ti preoccupare, offro io. Cioè, I pay for you, right? So now you got 4 points, right? Because you paid for the pizza and stuff. Then you go for page 14. This is a very quick game just to show you, right? So it's coming to an end right now. Page 14. Da nulla. And just so you know, guys, this game is meant for adults, okay? Not for kids. For kids, you have to adapt, right? Da nulla, un ladro entra nel negozio. Lui ha una pistola. Fermi tutti. Questa è una rapina. Voglio soldi, voglio denaro, ok? Che vuoi fare? Voglio correre, ci vogliono 4 punti per correre. Chiamo la polizia, ci vogliono 8 punti. Tiro 2 dadi e se il numero è più grande di 8, li spacco in testa con questa bottiglia, ok? O lancio una moneta, se testa, li ammazzo. Se croce, muoio, ok? So again, remember, guys, I work with adults, okay? So and adults have a good time and they left. You're not gonna use this kind of game with kids. You're gonna have to change the variations here, of course, right? So kids should not be exposed to this kind of language, for Christ's sake, right? So, che vuoi fare? Vuoi spaccare in testa? Vuoi correre? Vuoi chiamare la polizia? Vuoi lanciare una moneta? Lanci la moneta, veramente. Okay, so here you got like okay, that's yes, all right. So you yeah, there you go. All right, he got hands. Right, okay, so a testa, quindi yes, so he killed the thief. Yeah, quindi hai ammazzato il ladro, bravo, bravissimo, ok? C'è a round of applause for the Alright, very good. And then, just to finish, so we got here, gran finale, che hai provato a correre. So if he had made different decisions, this is what would happen. What would have happened? If he had run, the thief would have, like, shot him, okay? If he had like hit him with a bottle on the head, he would like fallen down to the ground, the police would have arrived and would put him to jail. If he had called the police, while he was calling, like the thief ran away, so it was useless, right? And then if he flipped the coin, then okay, hai lanciato la moneta, cosa è successo? So did you flip the coin? What happened, right? And then okay, so he killed. And then he used his imagination and he killed the thief somehow. So that was like, that's how the game works, all right? Okay, and then benefits for the students.
Benefits for students. Differently from natural acquisition, simulated acquisition allows the teacher to manipulate the frequency at which a desired input occurs, according to the curriculum. Basically, if you increase the frequency of a lexical item within a short time frame, you are hacking the acquisition process. Natural acquisition, it's random and takes longer. Simulated acquisition, it's controlled and works faster. 2. It allows the teacher to focus on vocabulary that is actually useful. In other words, not only can you control the frequency of the input, but you can also control its quality. This should enable students to master language that they need in order to cope with other lexical items they will eventually come across through phrasal overlapping. 3. It's fun, and as we all know, the lower the anxiety level, the bigger the chance for learning to take place. 4. Language is learned in a contextualized fashion. They have no difficulty figuring out the meaning of new words and sentence structures, for the context speaks for itself. In other words, context is the finest translator. 5. Experiential learning is more effective. When paired up with experience, learning is linked to certain areas of the brain that help retrieve information not only in the short-term memory, as it happens with some other methods, but also in the long-term memory, since the student can recall the vocabulary packet mnemonic experience. 6. Students don't waste time asking grammar questions. They are actually focused on playing the game. They enjoy themselves throughout the process. As a result, learning takes place on a subconscious level. Next time students use language, they are much more relaxed, they sound spontaneous, and they are not self-conscious about grammar. They are actually concerned with communication, which in turn helps them get their point across fluently and accurately. Conclusion. 1. The RPG method has proven effective in terms of enhancing students' vocabulary in the short term. 2. You can either use it with vocabulary pre-teaching or no pre-teaching whatsoever. This will depend on the students you are working with. 3. Simulated acquisition is a very interesting subject, and a lot can be done to improve it in the future, using virtual reality, for instance.
I hope to develop this project further on and see how it unfolds, how it will play out in maybe like a possible master's. We'll see about that. Okay, I guess this is pretty much all. Oh yes, this is like a current RPG I'm working on, and then and this is like Hurricane English RPG. So this is for intermediate students. Okay, and these all the drawings are mine. And this is like Space-Time Warp. This is the game that I was working on for 9 months. So it's very interesting. I have it here, so maybe I don't know, like if you want to pass around and look at, okay, so you can like maybe like, okay. Usually you need like avatars, so I use like Star Wars avatars, like this, or like Princess Leia, and this kind of thing. So students like, and this one is like this one that I created when I was halfway through, but I'm going to share it anyway, so that you can. Okay. So alright, guys. This is it, alright? This is what I call the RPG method. Like I said, I call it method because it requires a predefined set of techniques to teach vocabulary, and it's very good, especially in terms of increasing students' accuracy in English. Okay? So I hope you liked this presentation, and thank you for your time. Thank you so much for listening. Like I told you guys, this is the very first time I'm talking about this project here at APIES. So I'm very thankful for this opportunity to be talking about it. And thank you so much for listening. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.